And you're welcome to your most authoritative show on TV. It's The Pulse. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on the STV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. Remember, we're your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This afternoon, ECOWAS suspends Guinea and demands immediate release of Alpha Condé after a crunch meeting chaired by President Akufo-Addo. We have details of the communique issued after the emergency ECOWAS meeting held online yesterday and a conversation about whether it's the surest way to go in the Guinea situation. Also this afternoon, our Greek Minister Dr. Friakoto hits hard on former President John Mahama for predicting that there could be food shortage in the country next year due to what he describes as government's mismanagement of Planting for Food and Jobs program. We'll be finding out more from the Greek Minister, who says the claims are unfounded. Plus, mad rush for jobs as thousands of job seekers from different parts of the country stormed the Accra Conference Center in search of jobs. On The Pulse this afternoon, there's a conversation about the rate of unemployment in our country, what the maiden edition of the job fair organized by the YEA seeks to do. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu Affordable Safe Sanitation. Remember, we are streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at the Nana Aisha. It's always a pleasure to host you.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to my Joy Online/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Government has described as unfortunate and unfounded claims by former President John Mahama that there could be food shortage in the country next year due to what he describes as government's mismanagement of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. Speaking on Sunyani-based radio station Moonlight FM, the former president attributed the rising cost of crops to government's failure to fund the program, which he says was initiated by his administration. Mr. Mahama says the program can only be saved with increased funding.
The one-day thank you tour of the Bono region saw John Mahama and his team, including his 2020 running mate, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, Chairman of Osuampofo, and other executives, held a meeting with the clergy, Regional House of Chiefs and Imam, and the party supporters in Sunyani. Responding on Moonlight FM to reactions to his earlier do-or-die comment described by the MPP as inappropriate, John Mahama said his comment is an idiomatic expression directed at the NDC members and has no intentions of retracting.
Do the needful or perish. And so you must do the needful.
NDC should not wait and go to the Supreme Court again. Everything necessary at the polling stations and collation centers must be done.
And so I don't retract. The next election for NDC is going to be a do-or-die affair. It's different from all die be die. All die be die, broken English, pidgin jargon, but we do or die. Could be a dictionary in affair. And I say it's a do or die affair. NDC must man the polling stations, they must man the collation centers, make sure the pink sheets are correct, make sure we get the right results and everything, because
if I am to be the NDC flag bearer again, I will not go to the Supreme Court.
But NDC flag bearer, I'm not going to the Supreme Court. We must win at the polling station and the collation center. And Electoral Commission would have no option but to declare who the true winner is.
At the Regional House of Chiefs, John Mahama urged President Akufo-Addo to call a summit on youth employment in a bid to find a lasting solution.
The whole youthful population now they will turn to something else and it will become a disadvantage.
Two heads are better than one. We in the NDC are ready to sit down, and if the president will agree, we should call a summit on youth employment to brainstorm and suggest how we can resolve unemployment.
To come out with suggestions how we can resolve this unemployment thing. Because
NAPCO won't help, giving them 700 cedis per month.
A month. And no, it's not sustainable. A artificial job creation.
What they need are permanent jobs.
Any permanent jobs.
On his part, the president of the House of Chiefs, Osajifo Osiadeya, Dr. Jimambedu, expressed worry over the many abandoned projects. He said taxpayers' money should be protected instead of the politicization of every national issue.
As a matter of urgency, 111 agenda 111
Agenda 111 should go on, but the abandoned hospitals must also be completed for the use of Ghanaians, regardless of location. I'm pleading with Ghanaians to tone down on the NDC NPP politics. Today, you can't even express an opinion without being linked to a political party, and we must be careful about it. For Joy News, Precious Semevo, Sunyani.
Well, the Food and Agri Minister, Dr. Usefri Akoto, has been responding to the former president. He says the country is rather experiencing bumper harvests and exporting to neighboring countries due to sustained investment into the sector. He tells my colleague Elton Brobe the former president is misinformed.
I didn't know that in addition to the many accolades that he's collecting along the way, that scaremongering has become a tool for him in his desperate attempt to win power in 2024. The facts are very clear. Ghana has the best food security situation in the whole of Africa, and that is well documented by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the World Bank, AGRA, and all the international organizations. Since 2017, when we started the Planting for Food program, we're exporting huge amounts of food to our neighboring countries across the range of tubers, of maize, rice, and other commodities. So if he says that there's going to be shortage of food in the coming year, I don't know what he's talking about. Last year, the government spent nearly 1 billion Ghana cedis on seed and fertilizer subsidies alone, in addition to the machinery and other things that have been imported for farmers to increase their production and their productivity. That generally we are having a situation where traders are coming from Kano in northern Nigeria, from Niger, from Burkina, to come and pick the excess that the farmers in Ghana have produced. So I don't know where he's getting his information that there's going to be food shortage. In fact, this year we're expecting a bumper crop. It's totally unfounded. He's just a desperate man trying to scare Ghanaians in terms of our food security, but it won't wash.
But he raised issues about the unavailability of fertilizers. That is a key component in the agricultural sector. And he also has admitted that it's become a challenge.
Yeah, but in his time, how much fertilizer was he importing for our farmers? It wasn't even 100,000 metric tons a year. We have gone all the way to 500,000 metric tons. And it's because of the COVID, the industrial slowdown in world economy. Fertilizer supplies have gone down and prices have shot through the roof. And we are asking farmers to sacrifice in terms of open market prices. It's nothing to really complain about.
So what is the state of food security in Ghana? Let's speak to the General Agricultural Workers Union, and I'm joined by the General Secretary, Edward Kariwe. Thanks so much for your time, Mr. Kariwe. You work with the farmers and who have a better understanding of the situation on the ground. The former president speaks of farmers not getting fertilizers, which is contributing to their inability to harvest as much as they would have, and which also feeds into the high prices of food crops we're seeing on the market. What is the situation on the ground from where you stand?
Well, I'm on the field now, and I've gone around the zones, particularly the northern part of the country, to see how the flooding has caused devastation and the rest to harm some livelihood. The realities are clear for all of us, and sometimes it appears we don't want to accept what is on the ground. Because based on the ministry's own statistics and information, that fertilizer supplies were constrained, and that it was constrained because they were unable to pay suppliers of fertilizer their monies that they had already supplied. Now, there became a very huge shortage of fertilizer in the market. What it means is that, and then it's not just about analysis here, it's just about the reality on the ground. Of course, you talk to some of the farms have to cut down their acreage because they did not have enough fertilizer to continue with their farming. And the price in the market had also shot up too high. So many farmers were unable to buy the fertilizer because they never prepared for it, the open market fertilizer. Apart from that, we were told by the ministry itself that the fertilizer was smuggled out to the extent that even animals can be remoted to carry the fertilizer out without the help of human beings. All these things put together, certainly one should not expect a bumper harvest. One should not expect a harvest to be as it was before, like a year before or 2 years before. So, we could hope that in spite of all these shortages and challenges that are before us, things will still be good for us. That is a hope. We can all hope for that. But if you look at the science of it, one should not expect a bumper harvest. And when you talk about the bumper harvest, it is just normal that during harvesting period, prices will fall, because food will be available at that time. But the whole essence of our policy is not about the bumper harvest. It's not about good times. It's about bad times. What do we do beyond the harvest period, the lean season? Will we have enough food? And I think that the ministry and government should be telling us that, look, we have taken measures, practical, pragmatic measures, to make sure that come next year, that is 2022, in the lean season, we would supplement for the shortage, because this shortage is imminent, particularly in the lean season. So the debate about there will be a bumper harvest, there will not be a bumper harvest, I think that it is clear before all of us that it is not during the harvest period that is our problem, but it is during the lean season. So the price will be at a level that people can buy them. We have all seen, everybody goes to the market. I mean, we know that the absence of the food has led to the rise in the price. The cost of production has led to the rise in the price of foodstuffs in the market. And that is there for everybody to see.
Right. So the minister also insists that the Planting for Food and Jobs program has actually resulted in bumper harvest to the extent that we're exporting the surplus. What do you make of the former president's claim that we are in danger of a food shortage in the country next year?
Well, I think that sometimes when someone goes outside the official information and says something that you can be critical about it. But a while ago, it is the same minister who came out to tell us that the Planting for Food and Jobs program is in crisis. It's about to collapse just because they were not able to pay for fertilizers that were supplied. It is also in the media graphic that because of drought and so on in some regions, food shortage was imminent. All these things put together, I don't see why there should be a debate about it, because no one has come out on his own to say that there will be shortage of food. But if you put all these things together, why do you think that there will not be food shortage? If fertilizers were not supplied at the time that they were supposed to be supplied, why do you think that we will still have the same good harvest like if we are supplied the fertilizer? Then if that is the case, why is it that we have to supply fertilizer? So it's not a question for debate, and I don't think that, I believe no one is saying anything from the official information that has come out of the ministry. We did not know, people did not know that government did not pay the suppliers of the subsidized fertilizer. No one knew that. It is the minister who came out to tell us. You know? So I don't know why we can make contradictory statements, having painted the picture to be gloomy. Then we then tend to say that it is going to be good, just because someone has also said that or has repeated what you have said. For me, being on the ground, look, the place is flooded. Many farms have been flooded. We are all aware of that. My car got stuck about twice, 3 times, and it's not only me, even truck.
All right, Edward Kariwa is the General Secretary of GAWU, and he's been painting the real picture of what is on the ground for us. Let's go to the Ministry of Agric and speak with the PR officer there, Al-Hassan Isa, who will be telling us more about this reality that has been painted by Edward Kariwa. Well, we'll get on and speak with Al-Hassan when he joins shortly. But let's talk about other issues, because Chief Justice Kwesi Niniabua has endorsed the Ghana case tracking system as one of the surest ways to address bottlenecks in the administration of justice. The technology-based tracking system is to help curb corruption associated with arrest, investigation, prosecution, and conviction of criminal cases in the country. Justice Niniabua is hopeful the system will enhance transparency and facilitate coordination between the justice service institutions. Ohim Interior of our security desk has more in the following report.
Introduced in 2018, the case tracking system allows civil society, organizations, and their citizenry to monitor progress of cases from beginning to its closure. It involves the use of software designed to digitally track criminal cases from the initial 40 districts in 7 regions of Ghana. The Legal Resource Center, Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, and the Crime Check Foundation are partnering USAID to implement the Ghana Justice Sector Support Activity. It has been organizing sensitization workshops on the case tracking system in Kumasi. Justice Niniabua calls for public support in the implementation of the system. His speech was read by Justice Johnny Kulendi, a justice of the Supreme Court.
It will facilitate much greater collaboration and coordination between our justice service institutions. It will also enhance transparency and accountability, which is at the heart of any true sense of justice delivery. And it will reduce the impact of corruption on the process.
Prison is one of the key justice institutions envisaged to benefit from the case tracking system. An assistant criminal records officer at the Kumasi Central Prisons, DSP Francis Yao Apau, is hopeful the challenge of congestion at the prisons will be addressed. He reviewed out of the current remand population of 458 in the Ashanti region, 180, representing about 40%, have had their warrants expired. He blames administrative lapses such as missing dockets, transfer or death of police investigators for the illegal stay of inmates, leading to the congestion in the prisons.
The remand population in Ashanti region is around 458. Those that warrants or that have expired their stay at the prisons, it was 180. That means about 40% shouldn't be in prison by now. One of the key areas that we are expecting the CTS to work for us is decongesting the prisons. Also, we've identified some administrative lapses in the system. That's what I've termed it. And people are being punished because of these administrative lapses. A person will be remanded and then we realize that the CID has been transferred. There is the usual situation, somebody takes over. But when a new person takes over, some of them see it as a burden, because that is not his case.
Meanwhile, project officer at the CHRI and USAID Justice Center support activity, Anthony Sedro bemoaned the gap between the poor and the rich in assessing justice delivery in Ghana.
Ghana is not doing so well when the World Justice Report was released. For example, the cost of initiating a suit at the court is quite high. Majority of Ghanaians are not rich to be able to afford the cost of initiating justice at the courts. Also, for those who are able to do so, who are able to go through the court system, there's a lot of delay. It takes so long for a court case to be held. So access to justice for poor and vulnerable, especially people who don't have money, is so difficult. And that is why, with the support of USAID, this project has come up so that we will have what is called a case tracking system. That's right from the police stations. When the suspect commits an offense, his docket is entered into an electronic system, right down to when the person ends up in prison or is freed. We can track the cases.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimintiria reporting.
We'll take a break on the pulse. We'll return shortly.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back to The Pulse, and we're live on all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. Now, the National Security has ordered the closure of an Islamic Learning Center at Nambagla in the Savalego municipality of the Northern Region. The order comes after armed security personnel last Friday raided the school and arrested 33 suspects, including the founder and spiritual head of the center. Sources at the National Security confirmed to JoyNews the operation followed months of security surveillance on the activities of the founder, who is being accused of having direct links with suspected Islamist militants in northern Nigeria and the Sahel. The sources, however, indicate 27 of the suspects have been released, while 4, including the Sheikh himself, are being detained for further investigations. Correspondent Elias Tanko visited the community and has filed this report.
This is the Islamic Learning Center here in Nambala, where operatives of the National Security carried out a covert operation leading to the arrest of some 33 suspects, including the founder and his followers. The center is just a squalid environment typical of nomadic settlement with no electricity and running water, found at the western outskirts of the village. These mud structures and makeshift facilities made with dry grass and hay serve as the classrooms where lessons take place. This is a popular madrasa in the area where learners from across West Africa come to study under a top Burkinabe sheikh named Ahmed Deko. On a normal day, the whole place is filled with activities of Islamic teaching and learning. Today, the place is virtually empty with only a panic-stricken women and children. They were left behind last Friday when armed personnel of the National Security raided the settlement and arrested almost everybody they met. One student, who identified himself only as Idrisu, says he's been studying here for 6 years now, and although he was absent when the security forces came, the incident has brought fears. I wasn't around when the incident occurred, but I'm a student here. I've been studying here for 6 years now, and this is our first time of witnessing this, and this has brought fears here. Joy News sources disclosed that this sheikh and founder of this center has long been a target of the Ghanaian security surveillance after he was first arrested in Tamale for allegedly collaborating with suspected Islamic jihadist organizations in neighboring countries. The sheikh has also been accused of attempting to form a radical Islamic movement in the area. The sources said the raid came after the security intercepted communications between the sheikh and suspected terrorists in Burkina Faso, Nigeria, and Mali, JoyNews has learned 27 of the suspects, who are mainly learners, have been granted bail, while 4 teachers, including the sheikh himself, remain in custody for further interrogation. The secretary has ordered the closure of the school and repatriation of all students from neighboring countries. The residents of Nambala say they are shocked about the development. They describe the sheikh as a revered Malam who has been teaching Islamic education in the area for 2 decades now. We hired them to take care of our cattle, and we have never been aware of any criminal records regarding them. We also know they are Islamic teachers teaching these children they brought from elsewhere we don't know. So we are really surprised by what happened. We have lived together peacefully for more than 20 years. We have never suspected them, and they have never been involved in any suspicious activities, not even armed robbery. Their arrest, therefore, has come to us as a surprise, and we are scared because we know terrorists are bad. We see how they are destroying other nations, so we are in fear now. This is our first time of seeing something like this about them, and so we are waiting to hear what the security investigation will find about them. Until then, we cannot make any opinion about this incident because we don't know them to be bad people. Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
Let's get more on this and speak with our correspondent, Ilyasu Tanko. Ilyasu, what more do we know about the school?
Well, we know that the school has been in operation for 20 years now, at least according to the residents. And it's a school where learners from across the West Africa come to learn Arabic education or Islamic education. And as we speak right now, the facility, we understand, has been shut down. Yesterday I was there. In fact, I met only little children and women. And the whole place, as we speak right now, is virtually empty. We understand that the facility, as I speak to you right now, is not in operation as we speak.
So who are these 4 who have been detained? We're told the sheikh himself is one of them.
Yes, the sheikh is one of them, and the 3 others we understand are teachers of this particular facility, and they have been with the sheikh, like I said, for some time now. Our sources at the National Security indicate that the sheikh has been a target of the Ghanaian security surveillance, and this particular operation was carried out after the security forces intercepted communication between the sheikh and some suspected individuals believed to be connected to some terrorist activities in the neighboring countries, especially in Burkina Faso, Mali, and northern Nigeria. And so we understand that the security forces are interrogating him on that particular evidence that they have gathered. But 27 of them, who are mainly students, and they were, according to our sources, they were innocent. Yesterday, I was in that community when they were released, when they arrived in that particular community. And so as I speak to you now, the sheikh himself, the name we are getting is Ahmed Deko. He, together with 3 other top clerics of the school, are currently in the custody of the National Security in Accra.
We heard in that video one of them saying that he's been in that school for 6 years. I want to find out what sort of training people get from that school.
Well, it's purely an Arabic education that they are being taught. They learn more about the Quran, and they also learn about the Islamic education. But what is striking, or what compelled part of the reason that compelled the security forces to raid this particular learning center is the fact that they believe that this man, this sheikh, is now teaching some kind of radical Islamic to these particular learners. And as I said earlier on, they had also intercepted communication he had with some suspected jihadist militants. And we know also that he was first arrested in Tamale on similar charges, and he was released. And the communication that was intercepted, according to sources, was the sheikh was actually telling these suspected militants that he is now on the radar of the Ghanaian security forces, and he was also asking that a WhatsApp or a social media platform that he was on, he should be removed because apparently the Ghanaian security forces are on him and they will be able to penetrate to this particular WhatsApp or social media platforms. And so largely these students come from neighboring Burkina Faso, and some of them are actually coming from Ghana, especially in northern region here. So they come there and they teach them Arabic studies or Arabic education in that particular area.
So how are the residents taking this? Are they confirming or denying these allegations?
Well, the residents say they have been living peacefully with them for about 20 years now. They say the sheikh first came to the area as a laborer. They actually hired him to take care of his cattle. But he later on brought his family there, and subsequently he established this particular Islamic center or education center, receiving children from Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and some parts of Ghana. He's actually, according to our sources, is actually a Burkinabe. He's a national of the Burkina Faso. And so he knows a lot of people that come from Burkina Faso, that bring their children from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, and some parts of northern Nigeria to study Arabic education. And so the residents said that this is the first time that they have heard something like this about the sheikh and his students. And so they are really, really surprised. And the fact that it is connected to terrorism charges and all that, they say they are very scared because they are aware of how terrorists are destroying other nations. And so they want the security forces to conduct rigorous investigation, do a lot of background checks to confirm or deny what they are hearing currently.
Elias Tanko is our correspondent in the northeastern region, and he's been bringing us updates on the arrest of the sheikh in connection with terrorism. We'll be following this for you and bring you all the details. But let's move on from Burkina-related issues to Guinea, because the leaders of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have suspended Guinea from all ECOWAS governing bodies with immediate effect. The suspension takes immediate effect and will remain so until further notice. This was contained in a communique issued after an emergency ECOWAS meeting was held online yesterday, chaired by our own President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
First of all, I want to thank all of you, especially the heads of state, for acting so promptly and without hesitation to be present at this meeting. I believe that the manner in which, in times of crisis, the leadership of ECOWAS responds is the surest testimony, strength and the commitment that all of us have to the goals of our regional organization. I don't believe that we need to have a long ceremonial opening. All of us know the main matter which has brought us here, which is the unfortunate and regrettable incident that has taken place in Guinea. And it is to discuss that and to discuss our response to this clear violation of our common charter of governance, of good governance in the ECOWAS region, and what decisions we want to take in response.
Let's get more on this and speak with an international relations expert, Vladimir Nchidanso, Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso. Doc, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. Hello, Dr. Danso.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Good to have you. Now, I just want to find out from you your reading of the situation in Guinea and the subsequent suspension of that country from ECOWAS.
Well, the happenings in Guinea were to be expected somehow because of the initial situation beginning from last year, the beginning of the constitution and all the instability that set in after that, then elections, post-electoral problems that they had. It was clear that anything could happen. So when it happened, some of us were not seriously surprised. And again, I'm not surprised that ECOWAS reacted, the EU reacted, the UN reacted, because generally these multilateral organizations have all the unconstitutional means of changing government. For ECOWAS, the protocol in 2001 made it clear. And for AU, the 2004 protocol also made it clear. So I'm not surprised about the happening. The suspensions are in order because of the protocols that are existing. The worrisome situation is why these multilateral organizations would remain reactive organizations instead of being proactive. I'm saying this because when the situation was unfolding in Guinea, there should have been a way of trying to prevent it. And again, not only in Guinea, in most of the Francophone countries in Africa, we see this tendency of changing the constitution midway and asking for another term under the new constitution, interpreted as first term, but then eventually meaning third term. And unfortunately, when these incumbents are able to set themselves in, then ECOWAS will dress up and go for their inauguration. And so for me, we need to interrogate that. We need to be very careful about how we interpret constitutional overthrow of governments or whatever it is. And I think some incumbents in the Francophone countries have a way of throwing away the constitution and installing themselves in. ECOWAS must interrogate them.
If you look at point 10 of the communique that was released after the summit, the online summit yesterday, chaired by President Akufo-Addo, it says that the authority is calling for the immediate return to constitutional order and demands that the defense and security forces maintain a constitutional posture. You and I know that the constitution of Guinea has been in question for some time now. And the reason why many experts say that the suspension wouldn't have been the way to go, but rather a mechanism to actually engage the people in how they intend to review their constitution. What's your own view on this one?
Well, I think I've expressed my opinion on this on several fora. As I've said, it's regrettable that at times we just want to stampede the process. We did that to Mali. We virtually ordered them to return to civilian rule. And it's ridiculous because we know this will not work. They went out from here to a very rapturous acceptance in Mali. They wishy-washy put something in place to please ECOWAS. It didn't work, and they are back in office, the military. If we want constitutional order, then let's protect that order first place before it goes into this bad situation. Secondly, then if it happens, then let us help them to put that constitutional order. Let us not stampede them for them to do any wishy-washy thing. Supposing, without accepting it as a fact, that Dumbuya tomorrow calls for a ballot, and he himself is on the ballot, and he wins, is ECOWAS not going to accept it? Yes, they're going to accept it because it's a ballot. And I have always said that the ballot does not stop the bullet. The ballot does not stop the bullet. Let us help them to put the constitutional order in place. Let us not force them to say, tomorrow, let us see a constitutional order. What do we mean by that order? A constitution, election, that's all. Democracy is beyond that. Democracy is beyond just getting a paper called a constitution and an election. So that ballot will not represent a constitutional order. Let us help all African countries. Let us help those in crisis like this to get a constitutional order that is resilient and will be able to stay the day. But if we are forcing them, as I gave an indication, let Dumbuya now come back as a civilian governor of Guinea, then we'll accept it, won't we? So this rush, this stampeding process is not correct.
The situation in Guinea definitely is not one that we wish for any African country. But from the researches that you've conducted and from what you know, how would you recommend that Guinea crosses this hurdle?
My recommendation is not only for Guinea, for every other country. When there is instability, let's have the patience and get the proper democratic order. Ours in Ghana, for example, is a little stable, even though there are hiccups, just because we had the patience. We went into a constitutional order where nobody was on our neck to force us to do it this way or that way. We wrote our own constitution, we voted on it, allowed Jerry Rawlings to come, be part of the ballot, and gradually we are crystallizing our institution. That's how democracy is built. It is a process, not an event. So I would not advise Guinea to rush into anything, but of course not to delay the process where they themselves want to entrench. In that sense, the whole of Africa, especially the multilateral organization, need to help Guinea build those bridges towards constitutional. First and foremost, we're going there to assess the situation. When we have assessed the feeling of the people, let us help them to have an all-inclusive kind of writing their own constitution. And if they are able to do that, help them build stable institutions. Democracy is built on constitutionalism and institutionalism. Without these, let's forget about stability.
Quite interestingly, I mean, if you look at the communique that was issued yesterday, the point number 11 talks about the suspension, but also B also talks about immediately dispatching a high level of ECOWAS mission to Guinea to assess the situation. So as they embark on that journey, what would you expect to see happen?
Well, as I've already indicated, that journey was very good that we added that. And it falls within the line that I'm towing, that we need to assist them, not stampede and threaten them. So this mission is a fact-finding mission to go and see for themselves. They will see that the people support the coup. They will see the position of Dumbuya in respect to other opposition parties and the incumbent parties. They will know the feeling of the people, the atmosphere, the horizon, the political horizon in Guinea, and then maybe advice. And it's a good line to tow. Very, very good line to do. Fact-finding, a report, and then we would know how to help Guinea.
Doctor, let's do more, because the Bekwai Magistrate Court on Thursday expressed reservation of the appearance of 3 minors before an open court. The 3 juveniles are accused of murdering Richard Appiah, a final-year student of the Opon Memorial Senior High School at Kokofo in the Ashanti region. Presiding Magistrate, His Worship Joseph Akwaku, queried police prosecution for what he says is breach of court procedures. A prosecution led by Detective Chief Inspector Anthony J. explained the decision was to seek direction from the court. They subsequently moved the hearing to the chamber to protect the rights. And there's more in the following report. My colleague Ohemin Teria, who's been following this for us, joins us live via Zoom. Ohemin, tell us more. Run us through what happened in court today.
Thank you, Aisha. I must say it was a packed court in which relatives of the 3 accused persons and the deceased, Richard Appiah, and some teachers of the Opon Memorial Senior High School were in court to witness a proceedings. So when the case was called, all these were the accused persons were being held in a police vehicle and under the security and guidance of 2 officers, asked and then detailed to man the doors of the vehicle to ensure they remain intact in the vehicle. So when the proceedings started, the presiding judge raised concerns with the fact that the 3 accused persons were juveniles who are aged between 15 and 17. So the presiding judge, His Worship Joseph Okooko, said he expects police to not have brought the 3 accused persons into the open court, but rather bring them to the family tribunal where they will be tried and not in the open court. So he called for the case to be heard in the chambers. And when the case was called in the chambers, that is when prosecutor, Chief Chief Inspector J led prosecution and then give details of how the accused persons connived to kill the deceased, who is a final year visual arts student of Paul Memorial Senior High School, on 4th September 2021 at about 9:30 p.m. He told the court that the deceased, in the company of 4 others, had sneaked out of campus without permission. So whilst in the community, then they met the accused persons, about 6 of them, just that 3 of them have been arrested and 3 of them are still at large. So when the students realized that the youth in the community, the accused persons and their group outnumbered them, they called some of the students from campus to come and join, so that the fight that ensued between these 2 groups could be settled. So the students later joined. In the process, the second accused person, whom we are told is a 15-year-old junior high school student of Junior High School 2 of the Kukufu MA Junior High School, then broke bottle and stabbed the deceased. He was pronounced dead on arrival at the Ahmadiyya Mission Hospital at Kukufu. So prosecution sought some relief from the court. The prosecution prayed the court to remand the accused persons into police custody to enable police investigate the matter thoroughly, and also called for bench warrant for the arrest of 3 others who are at large. And then the court granted all these 2 reliefs, just that the court made a pronouncement that the accused persons should be kept in juvenile cells, of which police responded that they have a juvenile cell at the Egna police station. So they will reappear on September 17, 2021, after they have been remanded into police custody. Meanwhile, the court also issued bench warrant for the arrest of the 3 accused persons who have absconded in this particular case.
Ohimenteria is our correspondent, and he's with the security desk. We're on this, and we'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. Now, riding commercial tricycle without license is the most flouted road traffic regulation in the Ashanti region. As many as 258 out of a total of 298 people arrested in a special operation by the Ashanti Regional Security Council involved commercial tricycle operators' activity without licensing. Prosecution of 188 cases has generated over 27,500 cedis in court fines. Nana Ojima has been following this and now reports.
A total of 697 tricycles and motorbikes were involved in road crashes in the first half of 2021. 104 people died through the accidents, with 539 of them injured. The death toll forms 29.6% of fatalities recorded on the roads within the period. This informed the special operation by Ashanti Regional Security Council to deal with the incidents. Simon Osei-Mensah heads RECSEC.
If you go to most of our health facilities in the regions, most of the accidents being reported are caused by these 3 vehicles. As a result, Regional Security Council we decided to take some measures and sanitize the system. They don't follow any transport regulations. So they drive along in the medians, they drive along the shoulders of the road and knocking people down, etc.
The Police Motor, Traffic and Transport Department has since stepped up efforts to deal with the fatalities by ensuring adherence to traffic regulations. Chief Superintendent Emmanuel Edubuahin explains the special assignment revealed majority of commercial riders, popularly known as pragia, operate without license, increasing the potential of accidents.
Any arrest has to end at the law court. So when you are arrested, what we do is that we give you opportunity to explain why we think you have offended the law and why you also think that you haven't offended the law. So we take your statement and we investigate. If we think that we have a case, then we proceed to court and then the court will decide. Because genuinely, some may have the licenses and they wish that you give them the opportunity to go and bring it. So once you are able to produce it, even though we can prosecute you for not producing your license at the time that we requested, however, we will give you the opportunity, once you say you have it, to produce it. If you are able to produce it, then that ends at the police station.
On the streets of Kumasi, many tricycles continue to flout road traffic regulations, most of them riding through wrong lanes. Some ignore the red lights and others overload passengers. Some commercial tricycle riders at Sawaba within the Askorimampong municipality say they are discouraged by the high cost of obtaining license. I think the operation will be beneficial. Some people are riding with fake license. Others flout the laws. So it is good for us to be brought to book. I don't have a license. I want to do one, but 600 cedis is too high. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority has revealed many opt for premium service at a cost of 600 cedis, but the riders will have to attach some level of seriousness in acquiring the license since their daily bread depends on it. Many argue the tricycle business will have to be regularized to deal with the high incidence of flouting of road traffic regulations. For JoyNews, Nana Ochima, Kumasi.
Students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology School of Medicine and Dentistry have completed a course in medical journalism with the Multimedia Group. This follows a memorandum of understanding between the Multimedia Group and the KNUST under the initiative of the leadership of the School of Medicine and Dentistry to train medical students in health journalism.
The students underwent rigorous training in broadcast journalism, feature writing, data journalism, science technology health journalism, photo and video journalism, audio and video editing, among others. General Manager of the Multimedia Group Kumasi Unit, James Agla, was hopeful the graduates will help to strengthen the group's help desk.
Our quest to ensure credible journalism has called for the establishment of specialized news desks. Now, the health news desk is one of the integral parts, ensuring we serve our audiences with accurate and current health information. Ladies and gentlemen, the collaboration is therefore meant to strengthen our health news reporting. It is expected this will positively impact the lives of the people and sanitize the health journalism atmosphere in Ghana and beyond.
The president of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Ankobia, lauded the initiative. He believes their expertise will positively impact Ghana's public health system.
We are so glad to have our own coming out as communicators and journalists. I'm sure you are committed to improving public health through journalism. In fact, all that you are doing is for you to ensure that there's good public health for the people of Ghana. We see people reporting medical cases and all other things. And because they are not conversant with even the terms in our practice, normally if you sit, be it the print, the broadcast or internet, it's laughable. But I believe sincerely that having you, the landscape for media, the media space is going to change completely in Ghana.
Board Chair of the National Health Insurance Authority and Foundation faculty member, Dr. Ernest Kwako, was hopeful the initiative will permeate other disciplines.
The future is bright. Look, after, let's say, getting to Masters of Medical Journalism, I think the journalism profession opens the space for many collaborations. You can have legal journalism, right? It's possible. If medical journalism is possible, why legal journalism is possible? There should be business journalism, it is possible, right? In fact, once you make journalism the constant factor, all other professional doors can be opened.
The Dean of the School of Medicine and Dentistry, KNUST, Professor Daniel Anson, reviewed the introduction of the program to other students in the School of Medicine and Dentistry. He says the university is discussing the possibility of launching master's degree in medical journalism in the near future. One of the graduates, Emanuela Osetutu, was enthralled by the experience.
So none of us had any idea what we're getting into, but we can all attest to the fact that it's been very educative, an eye-opener into the world of journalism.
The ceremony saw 11 female and 9 male medical students presented with certificates. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
During crowd control, for instance, men in uniform feel less protected because of obsolete equipment. Again, mostly footage from the grounds for critical analysis are nowhere to be found. What if there's a body shield equipped with wireless camera technology that can detect and record dangers from especially blind spots? Fortunately, a Ghanaian engineer has done just that. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Kwesi Debra speaks with the engineer, Emmanuel Rekobrobe.
When I heard of various committees being set to investigate a Jura incident concerning our late brother Kaka, and I realized that there are a lot of things that engineers in Ghana can also actually do to help some of these things in future, as to ascertain what caused death in an event, one event or the other. We realized that people were called to testify, and then why not come out with an invention which could inculcate camera, so that when there is an incident on a battlefield or riot control, instead of going to be calling people to come and testify, of which we can have falsehood, the cameras itself will be able to, give us vivid happenings. So that's one of the motivation for coming out with the communication gadget. Actually, our men in uniform normally goes for crowd control. They go for crowd control, and at the end of the day, they themselves, for the fear of their lives, decide to shoot. Sometimes they are left with no option than to shoot, because they themselves are not protected. You go there and people are throwing stones at you. And you look left, right, center. The only thing you have is your AK-47. So you point to the crowd and then you shoot. So this shield is supposed to offer optimum protection for our men, so that they will feel much confident when they are on field. And then to actually scare people from coming closer to them. Because whatever you throw to them will not hurt the person and will be able to grab you. The hand is also made of metal, and it's very thick, for that matter, to be able to block any anything that one wants to hurt you with. Yeah, I have in communication gadgets. That's a Motorola here, and then linked with earpiece, and then that will help you to actually communicate to people in your control room, so that when there is a problem ahead of you, they will be able to see through the cameras and then communicate to you. Possibly 100 meters away from you, there is danger, so turn right, turn left. These cameras and then the communication gadgets will be able to help the men in control. It could be in an armored vehicle. You have your backup team there monitoring your movement on the field, and then they communicate to you as to how to go about with your movement.
There's a mad rush for jobs as thousands of job seekers from different parts of the country storm the Accra Conference Center in search of jobs. It's the maiden edition of the job fair organized by the Youth Employment Agency to connect job seekers to employment avenues in the country. We can listen to some of the job seekers.
I'm employed, but I'm looking to have a career change, Yeah, so, and I've been here for the past 1 hour. I was in for the opening ceremony, and so I'm now out here to look through the various booths, have contact with employers, and see what works, and then possibly find new opportunities.
We are all hoping to get a job, because thousands of people are out here searching for a job. It's not easy. I'm in the house so many years now. If I'm not lying, about 6 years now. But you are still managing. But as for today, we are all hoping for the best.
Let's get more on this and speak with the Director of Corporate Affairs at the YEA, Akwesi Free, who joins us via Zoom. Akwesi, let's get a breakdown of this job fair. What exactly are you doing there?
Thank you very much. We've done a lot of things today, but then all of it is stemming from what we have, what we call the YEA Job Center. The YEA Job Center is a platform we at the Youth Employment Agency have created to help solve the challenges of unemployment for the people of Ghana, especially the youth of Ghana. And so it has 3 legs. First of all, it's a virtual app where young people can apply online.
All right, so it looks like there's a terrible connection with Akwesi's internet. We'll try and get him back to speak more on. All right, so Akwesi is back. Sure, loud and clear, Akwesi, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I was talking about is the fact that we have an online platform, which is the www.yejobcenter.gov.gh, where every youth can go and apply for a job.
All right.
Second, you get in touch with that.
Akwesi, go ahead.
If the network is okay. So I say that the second leg is that we have the working center where everybody can work in to apply for a job. That's if you are not able to read or write. You can get to any of our staff in any of our offices across the country to apply. And then the third leg is our training session or the career session where we organize regular training.
Okay, so you're asking people to come there to apply for jobs?
Opportunities for young people today. Yes, what is happening today is that we have brought together over 100 young people, over 100 companies who have come to meet.
Certainly not working there. We'll have to, Akwesi would have to reposition himself, then we can have a conversation, a proper conversation on this very important topic. Let's listen to the Director of Research and Planning at the YEA, Ejaya Onsian, giving a breakdown of the exercise.
In 2019, we launched the YEA Job Center. Essentially, what the Job Center was to help us do as an agency was to provide a common platform where you employers and job seekers will interact each and every time. This is also to help us as an agency become a facilitator of jobs. You know, over the period, we've been creating modules and we've been recruiting the youth of the country in various modules. So for us, the next phase, the next strategic direction for us as an agency was to become a facilitator, connecting employers and job seekers. And for us, that was a way for us to continuously remain relevant in the job market. We are all very much aware that there are job seekers, but the question has always been, where do we find the jobs? And the jobs are with you, the employers. So we are very excited to have you here with us this morning, opening your doors, being ready to interact with the youth. I think from our interactions and the analysis that we've done over the period, we've realized that youth unemployment has become a big challenge because of the lack of what we term as pre-employment services. One, employment information is not readily available. Two, in terms of services, like how a young person would put together a competitive CV, how they would put together and prepare themselves for interview, how they would even search for a job itself, has for some time been unavailable to the youth of the country. So the Job Center was designed and instituted to be able to fill that gap. We also know that you as industry players, you've also been struggling with what we term as the industry and the skills mismatch, where young persons coming out of our universities and coming into the labor market don't have the requisite skills as well. So the Job Center was also designed to fill in that gap, where we have a training hub that will continuously prepare our young ones entering the labor market with the needed skills, especially soft skills.
Thankfully, Akwesi Afriye, who is Director of Corporate Affairs at YEA, joins us back on the line with more. You were trying to explain to me how you put together so many companies for people to apply for jobs. Akwesi Afriye, are you on?
Yes, I am on.
All right, so go ahead.
I can continue from where I was. The Zoom network was a bit disturbing.
Please do.
I was talking about the fact that everything we are doing here today stems out of the YEA Job Center. And what we are doing here today is we've brought over 100 companies, startups, vacancies, cumulatively about 3,000 vacancies, together here at the Accra International Conference Center, where we've also asked job seekers to come in and see if they can have any luck of getting any job. So if your reporters were here today, they can boldly report to you that they saw live interviews being organized. They saw the beginning of recruitment processes for a lot of young men who were able to have the opportunity to meet these employers. So, I mean, ours is to create employment for the youth of Ghana, and this is one of the things, facilitating jobs for the young people. So one of it is organizing this job fair today and tomorrow, and a lot of people turned out today, which speaks to the fact that there are still a lot more people out there who are unemployed and are looking for jobs. So what we are doing here today is to just create the opportunity for employers and job seekers to meet.
Tell me, how long would it take for the people who participated to actually gain themselves jobs, like you say?
So we anticipated that some could be within 24 hours, others would be 48 hours to maximum of a week or maybe 2 weeks, because obviously because of the numbers that turned up today, most of it would be shortlisted. I mean, if you pre-qualify or if you qualify, they will shortlist you and begin the process right there, which means from tomorrow, these employers are going to be calling those who qualified and be doing their final interviews with them at their offices, or if they choose to do it within the YE premises or YE offices, they are allowed to as well. But the end point is that within, from 24 hours going, some people should begin gaining employment. That was the primary purpose of this whole job fair that we organized. So it wasn't your usual job fair where you have the focus is rather on the career talks and the tips about organizing interviews and all that. We have that, all right. But for us, that's a side event. The primary purpose of organizing this job fair was to make sure that at the end of the day, the vacancies that are declared from these companies who are participating, and we make sure that participating companies had a minimum of 3, 4, 5 vacancies within their company before they were allowed to participate. Obviously, yes, We had one or two who were in for prospecting employees. But we made sure that those who are coming, most of them have immediate vacancies for people who are ready to work.
How different is this one from the NAPCO exercise?
So NAPCO is primarily governance. And if you look at the history of YEA, YEA has primarily been government. We have been recruiting people into the community protection assistance module, what is popularly known as the community police. We have been doing the community health nurse. We have been doing the youth sanitation. You know, the Zoom police, they call them. The sanitation officers. We have been doing afforestation. We have been doing a number of programs which are directly government-oriented and funded by government. But we have always said that to be able to expand the economy or to create more employment, your focus should be on the private sector. You provide a conducive environment for the private sector to thrive. And that is what this current management of the Youth Employment Agency is focusing on. In as much as we continue with our traditional model, we believe that partnering with the private sector is the way to go. And so if you come here today, almost 90 or 95% of the companies that are exhibiting, that are recruiting, that have put out vacancies and are recruiting are private sector people. Most of them have vacancies that people don't know about, that they themselves are not even advertising. If they do advertise in the dailies, for example, most of these young people who are looking for jobs are not able to buy a daily graphic every day. If they are listening to radio or TV, maybe they will not have the opportunity to watch the time the news is going on when the news, when the advert will be put out that there is a vacancy here. But because of our platform, I mean the YE Job Center, which is free, they're able to go on it any day, any time, any moment. Free of charge for job seekers, free of charge for companies that are putting on. So what is different from NAPCO and the usual recruitment processes you will hear all around is that we are doing this for free. We are partnering with the private sector, and we are opening the space up for everybody, and especially the SMEs who are coming out. Somebody, for example, will be into shoe making, trying to mechanize the shoe making process and all that.
So for those who applied or have been at the fair today to apply for jobs within 48 and 1 week, they should be able to get a job for themselves.
We should begin getting results.
I'm grateful for your time. Akwesi Afriye is Director of Corporate Affairs at the YEA. We'll take a break on the pulse, but let me remind you about Joy Prime Explore. It is an exciting travel show that translates sights and sounds into real experiences, which hits your screens this September. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned on the pulse. We are back with sports.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Let's talk about Joy Prime Explore, which is an exciting travel show that translates sights and sounds into real experiences, which will hit your screens this September. It is a show that will bring you close to the unseen sides of different cultures, people, and unique places through the best TV experience. With thorough research, our team of travel reporters bring to you the biggest stories, the most exciting destinations from around the world. Kojo Youngson, host of Joy Prime Explores, he's the one who will be doing the explores, and we'll bring him on right now. Kojo, what is the objective of the Joy Prime Explore?
Well, thank you for having me, Aisha. And, you know, the idea that Ghana is a tourism hub is something that has been repeated over and over again. But the thing is, if you ask the average Ghanaian how many tourist attractions in Ghana they visited, you might be surprised at how miserable the number is. The truth is that there are, on top of all the amazing publicized locations, there are secret gems, little stories behind stories in towns and villages and cities across the country. So we decided that with Joy Prime Explore, we were going to uncover these gems and tell the stories behind them. I mean, we've driven over the Adome Bridge, God knows how many times. But how many people know that it was designed by a 29-year-old Englishman? How many people know that there is a house in the Akwemu Kingdom where Rawlings's mother and Akufo-Addo's grandmother both lived? These are some of the great and amazing adventures that we've been on and are going to be bringing to our audiences through Joy Prime Explore. I really cannot wait. The objective here is to show that there are secrets and gems all around us. All we have to do is leave our home every now and then, and we will find them.
Interesting one there. So which unique places should viewers be expecting when the show starts?
Well, the first episode is on Sunday at 6 p.m. And we take viewers to the magical kingdom of Akwemu. It's so exciting, Aisha. The Akwemu Kingdom houses some of the most beautiful places in Ghana. It's got the Volta River flowing through it. So, of course, we've got Akosombo. We've got the Kingdom of Akwemu itself, the town of Akwemufie, where the palace is. And we show people all kinds of amazing things, including a forest where dwarves are believed to dwell.
Quite an interesting one. I won't miss this for anything, but let's look at how wide we're going to be casting our net. Is it just in Ghana, or will we be going outside the country as well?
Well, Aisha, Joy Prime Explore is a global show, so we'll be going everywhere in the world. In fact, a few episodes in, my colleague Maxwell Agbagba will take us on a magical journey into Dubai. And he will show us the sights and sounds in a way that you've never experienced them before. So honestly, I've got to say, every Sunday we will be taking you to some magical place in the world. And I really don't want anybody to miss. This is the first real travel show to come to you from a 24-hour station. And Joy Prime has really lived up to the name on this one. We take you to prime locations all around the world and show you the amazing things that humanity has been able to achieve since the dawn of time.
Let's share some of the experiences. I mean, with us, you experiencing diverse cultures, diverse people during your recordings. Share those experiences with us.
All right. So, let me tell you about something that's in the very first episode.
Okay.
So I mentioned a forest full of dwarves, right? Now, this is a place that we discovered by accident. It's called in Samampom. And we were talking to one of the king's guards, the people you would call Ahinkwa, right? So the Akwemu king's guard was having a chat with us. And he just mentioned that, that forest over there, people don't go into it because there are supposed to be dwarves there. And immediately I was excited. I said, so can we go in there? I'd love to see if perhaps we'll come across one of these mystical dwarves.
You weren't scared?
Now, the guy... well, no, I was curious. But the guy was terrified. But he didn't want to let on that he was terrified because he's the king's guard, right? He's supposed to be a big macho man. So he said, well, okay, all right, I'll take you there. And we managed to convince him to take us into this forest. So after we had wandered in for a while, Aisha, the place became deathly silent. You could hear nothing. You couldn't even hear crickets in the grass. Nothing. It was silent. So I decided to play a prank on them. So while the camera was pointing at me, everybody was standing by the cameraman looking at me, and I was speaking. So I was the only one facing them. So halfway through my delivery, I suddenly pretended I had seen something and started running. And everybody dropped what they had and ran after me, including the big, strong Ahinkwa.
Interesting. So, this is something we can wait to watch. But when and how can viewers watch Joy Prime Explore?
Well, it'll be on the Joy Prime channel every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. It'll also be on YouTube. You can catch glimpses of it on our social media handles as well. And this is a season that is going to stretch all the way through to the end of the year. There are several adventures to come, and we don't want anybody to miss a single episode.
Kojo Yangson, thank you so much for your time. And of course, it airs on Sunday, September 12, 2021 at 7 p.m. It is also a DSTV 281 and Go TV channel 180. The Multimedia Group's classroom project is for that little child who runs home from school when it rains in his village. It is also for that child who risks being killed should their weak school block collapse on them. It is to avert such unforeseen tragedies that Multimedia is urging you to give for change to make a difference in the lives of the country's future leaders. The PTA chairman of the Zonayeli EA Primary School in Tolong is this evening appealing to you to intervene in their situation through the classroom project.
When you look at the school, the population is huge, and when you help us complete the project, it will enable the students to sit in small numbers, and teaching and learning will be effective because the number of students in each class is overcrowded. It doesn't help teaching and learning. So if JoyNews help us in completing the project, it will enable the children and the teachers for effective teaching and learning to go on.
We'll take a break on the Pulse. We are back shortly.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Hello there, Hans Mainsando here with the Sport on Pulse. Heart of Folk new signing Benjamin York cannot wait to play for the reigning Ghana Premier League champions when the new season begins. The 21-year-old signed a 5-year contract to join the Phobians from Division 1 side Samatex FC after netting 7 goals in the 2019 NC Special Competition and scoring 12 goals in the just-ended National Division 1 League. York has been speaking to my colleague George Addo Jr. for the first time since making the move to join the Phobians.
Feeling it the same. See, I walk across school, feeling the same.
So maybe I friend on Chelsea be away a new boy and I say be about to store that. And maybe I will bomb you, be a bomb one, and then you are
Good. Now, we started with ball, no started saying.
We started 4 years now. We started ball now, rubber, and yeah, who might it run. And we started ball on Kakanka. Ini ada istilah na kongkolatin do ko manam papale ni kom tene bokra ni sempa bokra na no bobono awa ni ko tanka no ni polina ni boye base na ni foso yo mwana tene yo somo de sako no de sani ana to na ni funga na mpaka koto jibu timam ni mwana jini ka tanka ampi eboto 14-17 the Kobo and a 17 match go win back. Not in the honor home, so can't no second selection. I'm the job of fun. Nico, I'm a kind of something and 14. Nami sa, nami it's a fine country. Now they are making me and a 17 minutes. No, the make coaching, no, so. I go back to your mobile market in Tayam and Ghana. I mentioned. You know, minimum be a minimum coaching, minimum be a no couldn't see that. The first time the fifth one, Cobobon. But I mean, the way I'm I don't know, confounded 70. First time I'm born, the shit. Oh, first half now, I'm here to buy the TV. About first half, we are a coach in the time, no, so no. Born on our family that, my place in Carson, Roman in Kobogi. The one they start seeing the second division, a boy to be second, now offer. Maybe we are now offer qualified about first division. This one I'm saying, second division, new mobile, new comment. None of the madam for this friend, say, no more Bogaladio. Western region is Sakweti Hobby, come on, boy. Christmas gallant, the way I'm coming in Kona, Kobogi. After that, you could do a man who could not ask now, Bobby 18. I don't see now, 1990 for crying. No quena, Samates. I'm more trained and couldn't shake as the local village now, local Galana. They bought 3 matches. Now, say 9 goose, 9 pennies, no one else, no, you. Every morning, I'm going to call them because I'm saying, I don't know what they call it. For 2 coach, Benjamin, and I'm Muslim more justify myself in the leader. But only who can make us say, there is one place that time 2018 and place in Medina Hona. I'm sure more for me, more ties than Medina Hona. No, sure, I'm listening to things or no. So, more body or something in the body. Oh, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no much match, no more started. And I the boys to go. No coaching so this by Nami to bear this time. The first one, the man this time, no more team. Second one, no more this time. First match and Boma, some of the Sina, FA Cup against Liberty Professional. Nami the man of the match was a match. The one I said, Medica, some of the time, no bone can 2017, 2019, to Kabla Max were coming. Maybe I'm prior to train about not coming. Then the bed 12 nominal to keep about Kobai. So, who will do social media and who I'm sure that be no millions of Adam. I think you show me data. When you show me data and I'm a month for a sentence and a message, the congratulations program. Then you made the corner of many Adam. You call Facebook and I mean, say, list now, but no 30 months squad in the big count.
Yeah.
A Honda in this area. In this area, maybe I occupy the young starting Bobona. If you're gonna have too much things, you will have no place. This one thing now after more national thing there. And now, the Honda is this, remember who I'm going to. I said, and you was not a sister. I'm going to say, hello, where I am, and I'm going to say, Maria, Ministry, I say, many did I tell Munana, Mamma, I am going on to say they are collapsing number. Through this time of friends say, to be banned when the being commodity say, born with this year, over for him, to say, oh, two can say, you could share that movie and small cup. Instead, they are I born a bonum to say, I can't say we were succeeding, say, I am a cranda. I can't say, man, Casana media phone and phone, Mr. Edition. No man needing a phone, so show me a man, Casana on a mistake. I don't know. When I saw friends say, I'm a boy, do your radio now or see me. May I am partner, no missing iron. No, see, no, they are nasty. An uncle, obey, major born a bomb. Then say, maybe I'm coming back. Now, let me say this shower. And so be a wussy and I say, be sure soon. Maybe call. The new buy and I say, let's start to summer test and for his uncle. I become a test and look find out. Now, last season, we're bullied in a half the offer and buy now. Summer test, I'm the song qualifying Vermont Town, take away your season. Enjoy money. I'm more first one year and so much time the offer and buy and enjoy money. To see me really living on the car to see and say, I and everything else say, Nico. So, young boy, Mr. Kibo on the coast, second division, third division, to connect to my buy, and yet, India say, has to focus. na mo mpaya me boy na say minya big things na organ na hanu ba kombo na nya dum tin na bo so mu jam na meto na say what yes I see by say my house ya bole gini na di my bole gini na my house no if me na mo so me kwa me ma camera so west no so this is who na me so that the last week ya na me ba aka na me ha so the many job my life pa so me na job my pa so me dia ni sia me na repeat sa tin to see me I say me ninji ya na me di arsideni na mama na me ga arsideni na mama.
Wow. Well, story the inspiration story pa na dia to hoy. Na me bin York no within no I just as a brofudin sa o na fantini wo mo.
Me fantini di me ba na mo so met no Sunday ni. E fi o fun na the York. Ni me yo mkan sa go for dini wo.
Ko be di na me si York there's we are go bo ai abrochi bo no dini afasa na so I mean story now mama me interesting story ti we do Accra has go first day no cause saying players now what it you mudi na show mo TV so near there now I mean who is saying first day now buy and I'm say netting nam ha salifu nam ha atan nam ha gbedu nam ha who is saying
ba ni le mo we come ba na say players no to sure be o ko national team na say so na ma for chat so WhatsApp ni say na den wa no ma chat ni na ba na oba ba say no be mo kwa mo chen say no ba for the long time so ba in there.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to my Joy Online/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
And as we wrap up the Pulse this afternoon, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. You get updates of all the developing stories. I've indeed enjoyed my almost 2 hours stay with you. Up next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Hello there, you're welcome to Let's Talk Showbiz here on the Joy News channel. It feels good to come here once again to bring you nothing but the best in your world of showbiz. And talking about that today, I have something from gospel musician Noble Nketia. I'm sure we haven't all seen him in a while in terms of music and all. I'll share with that here on the show. And also, I have a throwback of musician Kofi Kinata, you know, dropping bars before, hitting the limelight and all. And, well, actress Bibi Bright is also in the news. She's made a decision, and you all need to hear this. The name again is Doreen Avio, and the show is Let's Talk Showbiz. Well, if you're just joining me, this is Let's Talk Showbiz, and I'm starting with an interview my colleague Ibrahim Bembako had with gospel musician Noble Nketia. Now, you know, he's been away a little while. The last time we heard, he got married and, you know, he was doing his own thing. But of course, he had a lot to talk about marriage. He talked about the music industry, paving way for urban music and many more. Trust me, you need to hear from Noble Nketia. Perhaps there's a new single coming. You never know. So, well, let's hear from Noble Nketia in that interview he had with my colleague Ibrahim Bembako.
It is not necessarily about this doing the collaboration with the secular. To me, it's more of being in the right spirit with the person. And I believe that because what we do is spiritual, and the person that you're doing the song with, regardless of where he's coming from, has to be in the right kind of spirit that you are in to be able to make it work. When the spirit you're working with conflicts, that's where the problem is. So it depends on the individual and what he believes in. If the two of you share common beliefs and you you are operating in the same kind of spirit. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. So I just watched the video that they had, the video with Kofi Kinata, and I believe that the two of them were in the right kind of spirit, and it brings out the best out of what you want. The message is sent out there, and I'm sure that anybody who listens to the song get the message, and that's the most important thing. Well, it's not marriage. Okay. I think it has to do more with managerial aspect. Now, those days when we started, there were so many promoters around, or record labels that were pushing, like Ajiko, like Big Ben, Bandes, His Majesty Museum. Now they are all not there, So now to have the people to really understand you, to know the gift that you have, and to also support what you do is very difficult. Everything has become personal, like you have to do it. And with what we do, you need all the time. But then if you have to be the one doing this, and still have to be the person that's going out there to search, to get money to do it, then there's some slacking somewhere. So it's not making it. So honestly, there's a lot we need to do to be very vibrant and to be continues to be on relevant in this test. Yes.
So then it means that it is a full-scale, it's a full-time business being a gospel music.
Yeah, it's a full-time thing. You can't be doing this and doing that. So it's either you're doing a little here and a little there. And if you do that too, it means that you're gonna be slacking behind both sides. So it's either you go full-time or you go full-time here. So like before, we were doing, all we had to do was to do what we do in the music, and those that have to promote the music, bring the money, work for the money are there doing it. And so you don't have to now stop the music, and so everything you do is just on writing, composing, preparing yourself, recording and all that. But now you have to be the same person doing all these things, so it's quite difficult.
All right, so that was gospel musician Noble Nketi, and what can we expect? Of course, good music, and we are all waiting for him to release that for all of us. Now, away from that, actress Bibi Bright has made a revelation, and well, it sounds some way seem good for her. She says that she's not going to take any role that requires her to kiss or play any sexual scenes, and that's because she said she's matured, she's a mother, and well, she just wants to respect that. It's not that she's going to judge people who do it, but for her, it's not something she wants to do anymore.
First of all, I think it would have to, I don't think it will be a general decision for one to make. It's more of a personal thing. For me now, if you would cast me for a role and there's the kissing and I'm not going to take it. Not just because I'm a Christian, because I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and I feel I'm on a different path in life. Yeah. But back in the days when I had just gotten into the industry, when I was trying to find my feet, I was trying to let them know I'm a versatile actress. Yeah. I can do whatever it is you give me, bring it on, I'll execute it. Yeah. I will take it on. It comes with growth. I don't think I'll see any actress today playing such roles as a Christian. It comes with growth. The time will come. It's like when we were kids, back in the days, a lot of people used to bath outside. When they're bathing, you can see the joy of bathing.
Especially when it's raining.
And somebody would come and put their buckets on the roadside by the gutter. Yeah. While he's bathing, he's dancing and all that. But as time comes on, Obi can't say, "Kwashe jare na jare," because you are growing. Things are changing. Okay. So, with that being said, I personally wouldn't have much to say about that. I think it comes with growth. It shouldn't be with Christianity or for me personally.
Okay. Okay.
So there's no way you see these A-list actresses.
Yeah.
These new ones, these old ones. Yeah. Playing such roles. But some years ago, you see them playing the kissing roles and you see them playing the lingerie roles. That was then. They have grown now. They have matured in the industry.
So growth counts.
Growth mainly.
Okay.
There's no way you'd see, for instance, a Jackie in a role in a movie whereby she's playing a sex scene. No. No. But back then, when she came, maybe she would have done 1 or 2 movies that she's probably not proud of today. We all have such movies. So it comes with growth. Yeah. I have a movie that actually called the director. I said, I beg you. That part, cut it. Cut it.
Which scene has been your worst scene ever in your career?
There's this Nigerian man that I shot for. And in the movie, I was supposed to be, in quotes, a prostitute.
Okay.
And this man, I was like the wild prostitute that was very skilled in bed and all that. Yes, you see, you just went back. So I have a scene where I was sitting on top of him, and
you were?
Yes, I was not naked. I was not naked, but we had to create it. I was in a strap and shorts, but the way the cloth was, you could think that I was.
Something was going on.
Yes, and the time when they had to take my back, they would take, and I still have my front covered, but the camera will be on my back, and you think I'm not with anything, but my front was fully covered, and with the cuts and all that. After, and it's like, it's a rush when you're at that stage. It's like I see a walk cocaine be. It's a rush. It's like you are eager. You're all hyped up to do it.
Right, so that was actress Bibi Bright, and well, you heard her. So just so you know, movie producers out there, if you're giving her a role in the movie, just know that she's never gonna play that role again of maybe kissing or being sexual in a movie. Now, it's a throwback thing, and well, today we are throwing back to when Kofi Kinata started doing music before he hit the limelight. You should see this video. The guy really had some bones here though, but he still had the buzz.